The character of the country, in my view, is literally on the ballot. What kind of country we're going to be? 4 more years of Georgia, going to find ourselves in a position where, if Trump gets elected, we're going to be in a different world. For example, the Paycheck Protection Act. 1% of the money's gone out. 1%. 1% of the that's not the paycheck. The bill for small businesses.
Lending.
Mainstream lending. 1%'s gone out.
And it's personal, and I was actually it was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of 2 United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. And it was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
I would agree that your service in the Senate up to this point has not reflected any particular concern for the larger contributors.
Well, the fortunate thing is I didn't have many larger contributors, and the only reason, I went to the big guys for the money. I was ready to prostitute myself in the manner in which I talked about it.
Look, John's last-minute economic plan does nothing to tackle the #1 job facing the middle class, and it happens to be, as Barack says, a 3-letter word: jobs. J-O-B-S. Jobs.
I mean, you got the first sort of mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean and a nice-looking guy. I mean, that's a story.
Lobbyists aren't bad people. Special interest groups are not bad people. But guess what? They're corrosive. People who accept the money from them aren't bad people. But it's human nature. You go out, Lynn, and bundle $250,000 for me, all legal, and then you call me after I'm elected and say, Joe, I'd like to come and talk to you about something. You didn't buy me, but it's human nature. You helped me. I'm going to say, sure, Lynn, come on in.
But I am not running for vice president. I would not accept it if anyone offered it to me. And the fact of the matter is, I would much prefer to stay as chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee than vice president.
Will you ever run for political office again?
No.
I'm told I get criticized by the New Left. I have the most progressive record of anybody running for anybody who would run.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking.
First of all, I actually like Dick Cheney for real. I get on with him. I think he's a decent man.
And the other question is, could you quickly, I think
I probably have a much higher IQ than you do, I suspect, and I'd be delighted to sit down and compare my IQ to yours if you'd like, Frank.
Senator Biden, words have in the past gotten you in trouble, words that were borrowed and words that some found hateful. An editorial in the Los Angeles Times said, in addition to his uncontrolled verbosity, Biden is a gaffe machine. Can you reassure voters in this country that you would have the discipline you would need on the world stage, Senator?
Yes.
Thank you, Senator Biden.
Look at what they value and look at their budget and what they're proposing. Romney wants to he said in the first 100 days, he's going to let the big banks once again write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street. They're going to put you all back in chains. The Romney campaign put out a tweet, put out a tweet, went on the airways saying, Biden, he's outrageous in saying that. I think I said, instead of unshackled, unchained, or anyway, outrageous to say that. That's what we've had. I'm using their own words. I got a message for them. If you want to know what's outrageous, it's their policies. Right now we're in a situation where it's like, that Carney show goes through town once and you find out there's no pee under any one of those 3 shells that get pushed around. Mm-hmm. Next time it comes back, what do? Next time back, you ain't playing. You got to figure it out.
Tomorrow's superstar
Tuesday. And I want to thank you all. I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? 150 million people have been killed since 2007 when Bernie voted to exempt the gun manufacturers from liability. It would put 720 million women back in the workforce. Nobody should be in jail for a nonviolent crime. My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. What's not to like about Vermont in terms of the beauty of it? And what a neat town. Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. We choose science over fiction. We choose truth over facts. Think about it. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. The things I'm proudest of is getting passed, getting moved, getting control of the Paris Climate Accord. I'm the guy that came back after meeting with Deng Xiaoping and making the case that I believe China would join if we put pressure on them. You had people like you had people like the former chairman and leader of the party in Germany. Go to Joe 30333. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids. Why attack Sanders? Why? You're getting nervous, man. And Corn Pop was a bad dude. And he ran a bunch of bad boys. I'm not sedentary. I get up and no, let him go. Let him go. Look, the reason I'm running is because I've been around a long time and I know more than most people know. And I can get things done. That's why I'm running. And you want to check my shape on? Let's do push-ups together here, man. Let's run. Let's do whatever you want to do. Let's take the nice people. You ever been to a caucus? No, you haven't. You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. And so he was up on the board, wouldn't listen to me. I said, hey, Esther, you, off the board, or I'll come up and drag you off. I'm beginning to see why your wife left you. If you agree with me, go to Joe 30330 and help me in this fight. Thank you very much. The public option, providing for the additional funding that would provide for no hidden bills, etc. And I can get it done. I can get it done quickly, and people will be covered. But even I can't do that for another a year between now and November, or actually January. But to be covered.
By the way, do you know the website?
You know, I'm embarrassed. Do you know the website number? I should have it in front of me, and I don't. I'm actually embarrassed.
I'm going to call your office directly, and get it later.
It is recovery.gov. Recovery.gov.
Is that up and running already?
That's up and running.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vice President.
Thank you. Excuse me, I got to get this right.
And why should the voters believe that you can win the national election?
I was a Democratic caucus. You ever been to a caucus? No, you haven't. You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. You're a damn liar, man. That's not true. And no one has ever said that? No man has a right to raise a hand to a woman in anger. And so we have to just change the culture, period. And keep punching at it and punching at it and punching at it. It is important that Iowa and Nevada have spoken, but look. Get your words straight, Jack. I'm Jill Biden's husband, and I work for Cedric Richmond. Are you joking? No. What you all know, but most people don't know, unlike the African-American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things. You go to Florida, you find a very different attitude about immigration in certain places than you do when you're in Arizona.
Over the weekend in Keene, New Hampshire, Biden complimented the town before incorrectly identifying which state he was speaking in. Here's that clip.
I'm back. I've been here a number of times. Last time was, I think, all the way back in 2014, but I've been here before that. I love this place. Look, what's not to like about Vermont in terms of the beauty of it, and what a neat town. This were Martin Luther King and Bobby Kennedy. My senior semester, they were both shot and killed. Imagine what would have happened if, God forbid, Barack Obama had been assassinated after becoming the de facto nominee.
Presidential hopeful Joe Biden is yet again in hot water after a video emerges of his previous run for president back in 1987. In the news clip, Biden is exposed numerous times in flat-out lies about his background, as well as plagiarizing other politicians. That includes the famous British politician Neil Kinnock, who Biden quoted nearly word for word at a Democratic debate at the Iowa State Fair.
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Gladys the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get the university?
My ancestors who worked in the coal mines in northeast Pennsylvania don't come up after 12 hours and play football.
8 hours underground and then come up and play football.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
There was no platform upon which they could stand.
Biden later confessed he borrowed the remarks from the British leader, saying he should have admitted he was using Kinnock's words. The video was shared on Twitter with a caption claiming Biden was not only caught in one lie, but was actually caught in 9, and accuses him of being a pathological liar. In the news clip, the reporter says Biden is claiming Kinnock's vision and life as his own, and even told audiences that he hadn't prepared a speech, but was just thinking about these things before he got on stage.
You know, I was thinking on the way over here. Now that's a little too much because, as you point out, what's behind the words? What's there? And a lot of people, the rap on Biden has always been that it's just a surface.
But Biden didn't stop at simply stealing a speech from a famous British leader.
Biden had appropriated a famous litany from the late Robert Kennedy about what the gross national product cannot measure.
It cannot measure the health of our children,
The health of our children,
the quality of our education,
the quality of their education,
the joy of their play,
or the joy of their play.
Biden gave Kennedy no credit. He has also quoted or paraphrased John Kennedy, Hubert Humphrey, and British Labour Party leader Neil Kinnock, all without credit.
The news report also found that Biden admitted to committing plagiarism when he was in law school by quoting 5 full pages from someone else's work without giving any citation. For his work, he was given an F. Critics point out that while Biden says his vision for America can inspire people, it's not really his vision at all, saying he looks like a puppet with someone else's words coming out.
If they're going to do things that are stupid as well as immoral, then they're probably too dumb to have the job of president.
But Biden's lies weren't finished, as he boldly claimed to a crowd of reporters that he went to law school on a full scholarship and was in the top half of his class, that he had 3 degrees from college, and that he was named Outstanding Political Science Student. However, none of that was actually true, and the once again presidential hopeful was really in the very bottom of his class, coming in 76th in a class of 85.
I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again.
That's the man who much of the media claim is best equipped to bring civility and honour back to the White House.
It's what's wrong with politics today. Hillary Clinton will say anything to get elected. Now she's making false attacks on Barack Obama. The Washington Post says Clinton isn't telling the truth. She championed NAFTA, even though it has cost South Carolina thousands of jobs. And worst of all, it was Hillary Clinton who voted for George Bush's war in Iraq. Hillary Clinton, she'll say anything and change nothing. It's time to turn the page. Paid for by Obama for America.
I'm Barack Obama, candidate for president, and I approve this message.